Hello and thank you for joining us on another episode of Across the Line, an eventful weekend as always we've had in the English Premier League. And to help me digest some of this weekend's action, I have with me our resident Arsenal fan and pundit Hassooni, and I've also got with me our Man United fan Ali Karim. So we should have some very good opinions swirling around in the studio today. And without further ado, gents, let's move on to the big game of the weekend. Chelsea, Manchester City, 2-1 to Chelsea. It was a very nicely contested match. Torres taking the finishing goal just to kind of last minute. Hassooni, I'm going to move quickly on to you to kind of fill us in some of the action.
Yeah, I thought the formation that Jose Mourinho came out with to begin with was inspiring because he came out with an all-attacking midfield. He came very attacking in that midfield. He had Lampard, who's not a holding midfielder, so that was inspiring. Ramirez has been playing a lot of defensive mid this year, but he was playing a lot of attacking, a lot of it in their attacking position basically. And obviously it's a big game because they both need to win to go up in the Premier League table. So it was a big game. I thought Torres outshined everybody on the pitch. Torres ran, he destroyed Clichy. He ran past him, and then he just outpaced him, overpowered him, and gave an amazing ball across goal. And Shaw came and scored the first goal, and it started from there. The first half finished 1-0. Second half started. There was a little shout of penalty for Chelsea. Hazard getting dropped, and
that was just after the goal. That was after the goal that brought City back.
Yeah, it was right after the goal that they brought City back. But obviously that was like a little game changer. Because what happened was, the minute Aguero scored, which in my eyes, his goal, Czech should have done much better. Because he beat him near post and Czech didn't try. And I felt like that penalty decision could have swayed something across. Because when that penalty decision came, Chelsea had nothing going. It was all Man City. Silva was playing absolutely amazing in that second half. Yaya Toure was getting the ball a lot, and then a horrendous mistake happened from Nestatic in that match, and I felt like it was his fault and the keeper's fault, Joe Hart, and Torres capitalised. Of course, it had to end with him because he played absolutely outstanding.
Ali, I'm going to go to you. I mean, we were talking earlier about the mistake between the goalkeeper and the defence. So what's your thoughts?
Well, for me, straight off, it was a Hart mistake. I mean, you can look at my record, I really don't like Hart that much, but that mistake, I mean, keeper shouldn't go out, especially outside the 18-yard box. I mean, what's he going to try and do? Catch it with his hand? That'd have been a foul as well. I mean, he tried to header it. I mean, if he stayed back here, Nestatic, his only option was to either give it to the keeper as a header, so the keeper can catch it, or header it out. So Nestatic chose to header it. And it went over Hart. Hart was not even in his box, let alone I don't know what he was trying to do, but
I mean, it was out of no man's land.
Well, that was one of his 100 billion mistakes that he's had over the past few seasons. But for me, the issue of that game was, fair enough, Mourinho hasn't lost a game at home throughout all his career with Chelsea. I mean, the formation, as he said earlier, that he picked was actually quite a good formation. Yeah, I know Mata was taken out, but he was going for something with a bit more speed. And with Oscar and Hazard and Shirley, it was more of a push than a playing around, trying tactically, no tick-tack kind of play. It was more of a just get a goal. Shirley did play well. The highlight of the whole game was Torres. Yeah. One thing to look at, with Pellegrini's team, Man City, was the defence. I mean, you got Zabaleta, and you got debut game for Demichelis, and you got Nestatic, who they've never played together before. I mean, as a central back, I mean, obviously he doesn't have company. Lescott didn't cut it. So going against Chelsea with an unusual, untested before.
Do you feel the chemistry was missing?
In the beginning, Demichelis did a few issues. He was trying to command, but it was, it's like no one would listen, and it was just going around. He was concentrating more on trying to command the team than trying to defend, and there was a few issues. But a few minutes after that one incident, he started to improve better, and there was chemistry. They were playing, they were defending. Obviously, Chelsea with their attacking style, they were pushing really hard, but see, you have to give them credit. They held back against Chelsea, at Chelsea, at Stamford Bridge. And they did really well. But it was unfortunate. Aguero could have scored quite 2 goals. I mean, there was 1 goal that he did that Terry should have, Czech should have stopped that.
Yeah, no,
that was ridiculous.
Yeah.
It wasn't even... I mean, anyone could have stopped that. I mean, Schwarzer, who Mourinho doesn't play, could do a better job than that. I mean, Czech, that was ridiculous. He didn't even go for it. But Czech did do a few saves.
Yeah, he did have a few decent saves.
Yeah.
Gents, I know it's just the beginning of the talks, and I know there's going to be much more talk about Torres. Is he back to his best? Are we going to see more of him? Is he going to flourish? Are we going to see the Torres of yesteryear? I surely hope to think so. As a neutral fan of football, when he is on form, he's amazing. Hassooni, just your closing points on this particular game.
Well, Torres, in the beginning, speaking about what you said about Torres, in the beginning, Torres had a sitter of a chance. It was a half volley, and he missed it, and it went over the bar. And then it was clicking in a lot of people's head. Is Torres going to change, and is he going to be an inspiring form yet again? But then all of a sudden, everything changed. It's like he had a new vibe inside him. Everything changed completely. He had an amazing shot after, and it hit the bar. That shot that he took from a cute angle, and it hit the bar. And Joe Hart had no chance in hell in saving that. And I felt like Torres was just inspiring in that game. And the substitutions that were made by Jose Mourinho as well were very good. Yeah. Took off Lampard, the oldest one on the pitch for Chelsea, and he brought on Mikel, and Mikel was absolutely top notch.
Brilliant. Gents, moving swiftly along to another match, and another, I mean, we talked about Torres, another individual inspiring piece of play. I mean, from the minute he stepped onto the pitch and kind of dominated the game, it has to be the one and only Suarez. We're going to go to Liverpool, West Brom, 4-1, whitewash, walkover, whatever you could call it. I don't want to be harsh to West Brom, but Suarez definitely kind of commanded that game and walked away with a beautiful hat-trick. Ali, I'm going to go to you quickly for some
you
highlights.
said from the minute he came on I have to disagree with you on that one. It was actually well before that. I mean, Suarez has been inspirational ever since he got back from that ban of his. I mean, he's been pushing. I think he just pushed Sturridge onto the side and said, "This is my team, and I'm going to do this." Because most of the goals were his. I mean, he scored great goals. He set up his own goals. I mean, he passes to the player, and then he goes into the centre to try and put it in. And where everyone thinks it's not going to go in, he's headering it in out of the blue to score. Yeah, the lovely nutmeg to score the first goal. I mean, that was a pretty good piece of work. But for me, it's not just Sturridge or Suarez or Gerrard for that. Yeah, it's about Brendan Rodgers. For me, what inspires me about this Liverpool team is just the manager. You can just throw these players onto the side and concentrate on that manager. This guy is pure skill. I mean, to go into it against a team that is actually performing quite well in this season, with 3 in the back. Their formation 3-4-1-2. Nobody this season even dared to try that. Yes. No one dares to try that these days. It's like a really old-time kind of style formation. But he hit it really well. The 3 back, Torres, Girton and Sakaho, just stood their ground and held that formation throughout the whole game. And the others just controlled the rest of the game. I mean, fair enough, against West Brom, you'll say, okay, West Brom, if they were playing against Arsenal or probably Chelsea or Man City.
Man United for that matter.
No, Man United, put them aside for that one. You know, we already lost that one. But if you were playing against Arsenal, who are on form, and City and Chelsea, who are also slightly back on form, you'd think that this formation won't cut it. But with the fact that these players stay their ground, you're not gonna get an offside trap where it's gonna go wrong or something like that. They were really pushing, and the rest of the team were just inspiring, and I really enjoyed that one.
Yeah, Hassooni, before the actual show, we were talking about his celebration. A very interesting celebration. Yeah. If you watch the game, he put up 3 fingers, he kissed them. kind of symbolic, really, to walk away with a hat trick.
He's got a
He
tattoo.
basically scored the first goal where, as Ali said, he went past the first with the nutmeg, past Olsen with the nutmeg, and then he buried it bottom corner. And what he did was he celebrated. He went.
Yeah.
He done this, and then a lot of people were like, "This was symbolism for him scoring 3 goals." It turned out being a hat trick. That was the first goal he scored, and he done that little celebration. And a lot of people were like, "Oh, is this symbolism?" After the hat trick came, of course, because after that he followed the Mutu unbelievable headers, and then Sturridge with a outstanding chip, a very cheeky chip, or let's say dink, in other words.
Yeah, that was nice.
Yeah, it was different. It's different. It's different. Liverpool looking very sharp, very good, and in the same time, you have to give credit where credit is due, because West Brom, at the end of the day, they've had a very tough month. They've had Man United and Arsenal in the same month, and now they've had Liverpool near the end. So it's been very tough for West Brom.
Yeah.
But Liverpool are going to have. Well, we're going to see how good Liverpool will be next week, of course, when they've got Arsenal on Saturday.
They
It's going to
start
be a
that
different
one of the
game.
And that penalty really, at that point, it was more of a consolation thing than anything. The game was
Yeah.
wrapped up by then.
It was given a penalty from Lucas, gave the penalty away, and they finished it.
That was
Yeah.
a clear penalty, though.
It was a clear penalty.
Undebatable.
There was no debate about it. And you know, at the end of the day, Liverpool are looking very strong. Like they're looking very strong. You're going to see the 2 best teams next week playing against each other.
Well,
in the league, at the moment.
2 best teams depends on which fans you're talking to. Hassooni, that nicely brings us on into our third game of this show. And as you said, your team, they're going to be playing Liverpool. They had a pretty nice weekend this weekend. 2-0 away to Crystal Palace. Again, some controversy in that match as well. We had a lot of controversial decisions over this weekend. So I'll go to you to fill in, as you're the Arsenal fan, to fill in the viewers.
Well, first of all, it was a good match to begin with. But it was a big blow for Arsenal in the beginning. In the first few minutes, when you had Flamini just limping out of the pitch, everybody realising that Flamini's got injured. And with a groin injury, that's up to 3-4 weeks out. And of course, they've got big games coming up. So when they've heard Flamini's injured, there was like a big blow for every single Arsenal fan and supporter. And there was nothing much in the game other than the Arteta scoring a penalty and then Arteta getting sent off. The sending off decision was horrendous. Like, I could not believe that was given as a red card. I could not believe it. Because at the end of the day, you're running. He was running with Shamak, but Shamak is nowhere except for near the sideline. He's basically near the throwing line, and he's running there, and he puts his hand out on Arteta, and all of a sudden Arteta falls, a little tangle of legs, and the referee comes and gives a red card to Arteta. It was uncalled for, and it was appalling refereeing in my eyes. It was just very bad refereeing.
And Hassooni, that's coming from an Arsenal fan. So let's go over to, say, the other field. Let's take some opinions from Ali.
For me, the Arsenal game was quite interesting. Arsenal, they're first on the team, but what's interesting was Crystal Palace. I mean, they really gave Arsenal a run for their money. Obviously, it's 2-0, but the pressure that they put on Arsenal, they had their whole team in defence. They were really stressing it out. I mean, in the first 15 minutes, Crystal Palace had only 17 passes, whereas Arsenal, on the other hand, had 118 passes. They still couldn't get through. They were doing mistake after mistake after mistake. Well, until the penalty came, which is a clear penalty, you can't really deny that. It was a really stupid mistake by Gualdiro. He just slide tackled and took the player down. I mean, you don't really do that inside your own box. And Arteta nailed it in the back of the net. But other than that, after that one, they performed really well. Going off and talking about what he said about the sending off, for me, I'm not going to talk to you as a United fan. I'm not going to talk to you about any other fan. I'm going to talk to you about clear-cut statistics. That is a foul. I know he's saying that Shamak moved onto him, but from the position of the referee and from the position of the sideman line, they saw that Giroud knocked the player down. They must have got tangled in a way, but they moved. They got hit in Shamak's on the floor. Now, in normal circumstances, that would be a yellow card. But the fact that Arteta is the last player yeah, on the defense, on the back row, that's a straight red card. Day in, day out, even tomorrow, straight red card. One of the issues about Arsenal is that red card. See, that highlights a point that Arsenal have. I mean, they done the same mistake last year, in two games against Everton and against Aston Villa. They leave their last man is 12 or 17 yards from the halfway line. And this is what happened this game. Arteta was 17 yards from the half. He wasn't behind the line. He was in front of the line. The rest of the team was up front trying to take a corner. Shemakin saw this, and he knows their style. He went up. So as soon as the corner was taken, he went up, and he was attempting for a clear. And he got it. And he was running clear, no one there. Yeah, he tried to cut into him. Yeah, fair enough, tangled. There was another player he could have passed to. I mean, a through pass would have been deadly as deadly as a goal, because it would be just him and Szczesny. But they got tangled, became a red card, and the game slightly got moved around a bit. Szczesny ended up. I mean, after that penalty, that sending off, it was just Szczesny was having a nap. He wasn't having any attempts. No one was hitting him. No one was trying anything. But after that, Szczesny did some awesome saves, and as a United fan, I think that brings him up to the level of shot-stopping capabilities as De Gea.
Let's move on quickly to Hassooni before the fan gets too carried away here. Even after the sending off, Arsenal still commanded the game and finished 2-0. You must be happy. You must also be concerned going into next week's games.
Well, of course, you have to be happy and concerned. I'm happy with the performance because overall, if this was last year and Arsenal had a red card and they only 1-0 up, they could have lost the game if this was last year. But this year is a different story for Arsenal. They've got players that can hold the ball and spread the ball around. They've got Ozil, who's holding the ball, just keeping the ball as long as he can, and then find a beautiful pass somewhere. You had Ramsey and Wilshere, and of course Ramsey was inspirational in assisting the second goal for Giroud. Giroud came with a header, scored and finished the game from there. But of course you have to worry about next game for Arsenal, because the concern is no Flamini. And Flamini has been one of the main players for Arsenal this year. And if Arteta's not back from the ban, then you have...
It's not only next game.
You have a big problem. You have a big problem. A very, very, very big problem. Because at the end of the day, you might have to play Ramsey and Wilshere in the middle with Rosicky. And then none of them are really holding midfielders. None of them are really defensive midfielders. They're too attacking, and it's going to be interesting to see what Arsene Wenger is going to do with the team. That's all it is. And I think maybe he can keep every Arsenal fan happy.
Hassooni, thanks for your Arsenal opinion. You had final touching points on that particular game, and then we'll quickly move on.
Yeah, for me, I was just saying that Arsenal isn't just the next game that is worrying. I mean, if you compare their starting games with United's games, United had the top teams to play against. They played against Liverpool, they played against Chelsea, they played against City, whereas Arsenal have been playing against the other teams.
Ali, you were talking about Man United. That brings us nicely into our next game. Man United 3, Stoke City 2. Very, very lively game, I must say. One that Man United needed to win, I feel. David Moyes must be wiping the sweat off his head after this particular game. And you being the Man United fan, I'll go to you first to kind of fill us in.
All right, you see, with this game, it was when I looked at the starting lineup sheet, I was thinking, with De Gea, Smalling, Jones, Evans, Evra in the back, bit issue with the defence. But you're looking at the Cleverly, Carrick, Nani, Rooney, and Kagawa in midfield. I was thinking, we're going to nail this against Stoke. But 4 minutes down the line, and Crash nets it in, I was gutted. And it took a while for Van Persie to, almost the whole half, for us to equalise. And we lost it within 2 minutes. I mean, it was a great free kick by Aaron
It's a difficult
Dovik.
name. It's a difficult name.
Aaron Tarkovic, yeah. But, see, what's interesting about this game is the turning point. And I believe that this game is a crucial season game. This is the first game in which we're trailing down and Moyes decides to go all out. And obviously he takes off Nani and brings off Januzaj, which is, I would have done a different tactic. I would have brought Kagawa in the middle, taken off cleverly because I really didn't like his play this game. But Januzaj comes in, he does a really good job. Then he gets rid of Smalling. He brings on Valencia, which is even good because you have Evra and Valencia pushing up. Then he seals the deal by taking off cleverly, bringing Hernandez. That changed everything. Because Hernandez got the last goal, but the team started to push and push harder. And they left Stoke on the back line. I mean, they were really pushing to get a win. And he saw it. I mean, he did that tactic and he got a win. So he might be hungry for the next game. And for him to try out that first one and see that United is not a defending team, it's a winning team. I mean, you can compare United with Real Madrid in the sense that with Real Madrid, they don't really defend as much. They just attack. Their defense is always bad, but they attack. And that's all they ever do. With United, it's exactly. I mean, we won last season. We scored as many goals as we conceded. Half as many. We scored double the amount of goals and we conceded half. I mean, it was shocking. I mean, we conceded more goals than any other side in the Premier League. You
didn't mention much about Wayne Rooney. Arguably, some would say man of the match. He's coming into better form. He's certainly in good form. Do you think he's turned the page on the incidences of the last few months and kind of buckling down and kind of bringing the team forward now?
No, I didn't mention Wayne Rooney because, I mean, I've been mentioning him for all the time. I mean, ever since that issue with during the transfer window, which he didn't really agree on anything, but he wasn't just happy playing with Alex Ferguson because he was putting him more of a midfield role. But with Moyes, he seems to have tucked that under his belt, and they've agreed on the same thing. Obviously, he was his previous manager, and he knows where he's playing, and he plays him where he's happy. He's happy where he's playing, just tucked behind Van Persie, and switching around, and he performs really well. And he's been doing this consistently for every game for us.
Yeah. Thank you, Ali. I haven't gone to you, Hassooni, a lot. I thought I'd give the Man United fan a bit of time to talk. Give us your insights in the match.
Well, first of all, Nani in the game, especially in the first half, he was shooting from like 30 yards every time he got the ball. And there was a lot of boos in the stadium. This is like one of the first times in about 2-3 years you've heard Man United fans boo a player that much. It's to the extent when he was getting substituted, he was getting booed. And Rooney, as you mentioned and as Ali mentioned as well, Rooney's been inspiration. He's just been very, very good for Man United. He holds the ball. He knows. I knew the minute I was watching the game, I knew if there was any change that was going to happen, it was going to be through Wayne Rooney. And of course, it happened when he equalised, when he scored the equalising goal from a Van Persie corner. Van Persie corner, unbelievable header, and it went in the back of the net. And I think from there, it just looked very good for Man United. It looked very good. And another thing, David Moyes he done the first substitution within 55 minutes of the match. Now, a lot of people don't realise that him doing that is desperation. He wants to win the match. So he's showing that he's a fighting character at that point because he wants to win the match. And Alex Ferguson last year, statistically, he hasn't made substitutions until after the 60th or 65 minutes later, he didn't make substitutions. This guy made it in the 55th minute because he knew what's at stake. He knows they're 2-1 down. He knows he needs to play around with the team. And he done it really well. I agree that Kagawa should have played in more central because you can't see the creativity of Kagawa. You really can't. And it was surprising to see him bring Hernandez to start, as a sub, bring him on as a sub rather than Welbeck. Because normally he's played Welbeck more and brought him on in matches more. But Hernandez he brought on this time.
Do you think, just your finishing final point, do you think this is the turnaround game for United? Does this mean they could start contending for the title again?
I don't know about contending for the title. I think United's probably. I think a lot of United fans know this, that they're only going to fight for the fourth spot. They're fighting for to be in the top four.
Okay.
And in the same time, they are fighting to be in the top four, and this could be the turnaround match according to how they perform the next 2-3 games.
Ali, top four, he says your team will finish. Accurate estimation for you?
I really don't mind being the underdog. because I mean they wrote us off last year and they said they were going to win, or the year before that when City spent 100 million, and United was right on their tail, and they only managed to win by goal difference. And last year we just blew them out of the water. We blew even Arsenal out of the water. 12 points ahead, end of the season, 3 games early. I mean, that's it. But the thing is, this point in that game, I think that's just a crucial game, which just shows, as he said, that Moyes now understands that United is a winning team and he needs to play out his best foot forward, and he sends out all his attacking force instead of defending. But what's crucial is that, the defense line, you can see that he's experimenting. He's still in his experimentation stage. Because Smalling isn't a right back. He's a central guy. I mean, you could see how badly he was performing on the right. I mean, the guy looked like it was chaos.
Thank you, Ali, for that. As you rightly said, it's still early days in the season and there's much to go on. Thank you for joining us on another episode of Across the Line. Please share your comments, opinions, football-related photos even on our Facebook page. It should be scrolling through the screen as I speak. So hopefully we might see your comments and put them on our upcoming videos. From us here at Across the Line, goodbye.